Christ be not risen. The resurrection, the missing body, and the ascension problem under scrutiny. This document puts the resurrection claim under a stricter microscope. The usual question is whether a dead person could come back to life. That is not the sharpest pressure point. The sharper question is this: what happened to the body? If the body died, was buried, later went missing, reappeared in tangible form, and then rose into the heavens, then the issue is no longer vague spirituality. It becomes a chain of very specific claims about matter, identity, continuity, and physical mechanism. And the wrong question has been doing too much work. Most debate gets trapped at one checkpoint: can a dead person return to life? But the New Testament story demands far more than a simple return to life. The gospel sequence is much bigger. A body dies. The body is placed in a tomb. The body is later gone. The person appears again in tangible form, and that same body is said to leave the earth and ascend. Once the story is taken literally, the real rupture is not merely death reversal. It is bodily departure from the material environment. That is the part people blur out with faith language, cloud language, and symbolic language. The empty tomb proves absence, not resurrection. An empty tomb proves one thing only: the body was not there when the tomb was checked. It does not prove, by itself, that the body revived, that the body became immortal, that the body passed through matter, or that the body ascended. Absence is not the same thing as explanation. A missing body and a resurrected body are two separate claims. A resurrected body and an ascending body are two more separate claims stacked on top of that. 3. Resurrection and ascension are not the same claim, even if one grants, for the sake of argument, that a dead body could be restored to life. The ascension problem still remains untouched. A revived body is still a body. It has mass, location, tissue, weight, and it interacts with gravity, air, temperature, and space. So the sharper question becomes: what physical process carried that body upward? Not the spirit, not the aura, not symbolic going to heaven. The actual body. For the post-resurrection body is narratively unstable. The stories want two things at the same time. They want bodily continuity, and they also want a body that no longer behaves like an ordinary body. On one side, the resurrected Jesus is said to speak, eat, show wounds, and invite touch. That is all presented as proof that he is not merely a ghost or spirit. On the other side, people sometimes fail to recognize him. He appears unexpectedly, disappears, and in some accounts enters locked spaces. That introduces a body that is both physical and not bound like normal matter. That is not a simple resurrection story. That is a category-switching body, physical when physicality helps the argument, and extra-physical when physicality creates a problem. 5. A cloud received him is not a mechanism. Acts says a cloud received him out of their sight. But a cloud explains visibility, not propulsion. A cloud can obscure vision. It does not explain how flesh, bone, wounds, and mass leave the earth, survive the upper atmosphere, or enter another realm. So the cloud functions less like an explanation and more like a narrative curtain. It ends the visual scene without explaining the mechanics. 6. If up is literal, then physics enters the room. The ascension story is often told as though up were automatically a route into heaven. But up is still a physical direction. If a material body rises upward, it confronts atmosphere, pressure, cold, lack of oxygen, and eventually vacuum. If the body remains ordinary matter, the story becomes physically impossible as stated. If the body transforms into something else, then the burden shifts. When did it transform? by what mechanism, and in what sense is it still the same body? 7. Paul welded the whole system to a bodily event. Paul does not base his message on moral inspiration, symbolic continuity, or the Spirit of Christ living on. He places the entire load-bearing structure on one claim: resurrection. In 1 Corinthians 15:14 he says, "If Christ be not risen, then is our preaching vain, and your faith is also vain." In verse 17 he intensifies it further: "If Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile, you are still in your sins." That means salvation, forgiveness, apostolic authority, and the future hope of believers all get strapped to the factual status of one body. Paul leaves no safe exit into metaphor. Paul does not leave Christianity much room to retreat into pure symbolism after the fact. He insists that if Christ is not raised, the entire structure collapses. He also argues that Christ is the first fruits of those who sleep, meaning Christ's resurrection is supposed to establish the template for the resurrection of others. So if the first case fails, the whole chain fails. If the model body did not rise, the later promise of resurrection is empty. 9. The phrase spiritual body solves nothing by itself. Paul tries to bridge the gap by saying, "It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body." 1 Corinthians 15:44. That phrase is famous, but it does not explain a mechanism. It merely names a hybrid category that attempts to preserve two needs at once: continuity with the buried body and transcendence over normal bodily limitation. But saying spiritual body is not the same as demonstrating how matter persists, transforms, or departs. 10. The body problem makes Paul's statement stronger, not weaker. Once the resurrection claim is pressed all the way through to its bodily consequences, Paul's warning becomes even more severe. If Christ be not risen no longer means only if there is no general afterlife hope. It means, if that specific body did not reverse death and stand as the basis of the Christian proclamation, then the proclamation collapses. And once ascension is included, the question intensifies further: if the body rose, where did the matter go? If it did not ascend bodily, then the narrative remains unfinished. If it transformed into something non-material, then bodily continuity must be shown, not merely asserted. 11. The full miracle stack. What the story really asks the reader to accept is not one miracle, but a stack of them: death reversed, decomposition prevented or undone, wounds retained yet functional, a body both tangible and unusually mobile, identity continuity despite recognition, instability, and empty tomb appearances to followers. Page 4. Bodily elevation, survival outside ordinary bodily limits, entry into an unseen destination that is not a single event. That is an entire chain of unexplained processes. 12. Key forensic conclusions. The empty tomb does not prove resurrection. Resurrection does not prove ascension. Bodily physicality cannot be invoked as proof when convenient and then dissolved into symbolism when mechanics become impossible. Paul built Christianity